What if you set aside all the ideas about what you know? What you know about yourself, what you know about life, what you know about spirit or spirituality, all that you've collected, the information, the knowledge, the doctrine, the sayings. What if you just set that aside right now? What's remaining? What's left? What is realization like? Well, it's a hard question to answer, but one thing I can say about it is that it is something like an exploration of experience or of immediate appearance that is unending, ongoing, always curious, ever penetrating, and misses nothing. This immediate, simple, non-dual, kaleidoscopic appearance is the most obvious, poignant, interesting thing. And it's not a thing. There's no thing here. And even to say it's the most interesting doesn't make a lot of sense because there's nothing to compare it to. It's just all that is. So what does all that is mean? What does that mean? Well, from the perspective of a self, it would mean all that the self perceives, all that the self considers real, all of perhaps that the self considers important. But it's very different from the standpoint of no self. All that is completeness. It exhausts all possibilities. It embraces all possibilities as this one arising, this one appearing, this one departing. And all of that happening simultaneously, such that there is no arising and no departing. There's no coming or going. Because notably missing also is the experience of time passing, the experience of something or someone moving through time. Without that, how do you talk about something coming into being or going out of being, coming or going? So, as I've said many times before, when we talk in this way, language really starts breaking down. There's no language for this. We could make up a language. I think some people try or use terms in very different ways, and I do too. But ultimately, language is just not designed to talk about this. Because it's designed to talk about separation, differences, comparisons, judgments. Ultimately, language is dualistic and largely depends on the illusion of time, especially storytelling and narratives. So what is here when all of that is just set aside for a moment? For you right now? What is here when there's no comparison of past and future? When there's no comparison of present to the future or to the past right now? When there's no comparison of yourself to others right now? There's no comparison of yourself to objects in the room, as if those are others out there holding the self in here intact somehow. What if you set that aside? What is the experience now? What is the appearance now? What is clear? What if you set aside all the ideas about what you know? What you know about yourself, what you know about life, what you know about spirit or spirituality, all that you've collected, the information, the knowledge, the doctrine, the sayings. What if you just set that aside right now? What's remaining? What's left? Now, your mind might try to label this nothing. I would even set that aside. I would set aside all labels. And just know this. Just experience this. Just be this. And all of those ways of saying it aren't quite right either. There's no exact way to say this. But I can tell you what is distorting the thoughts, especially about time and separation. And there is a way to sort of set those aside or just not pay attention to them. Not let them have a grip on you. You may even have to ask the question, how do I do that? How do I not let thoughts have a grip on me right now? How do I not let labels hold objects in some kind of three-dimensional mental space? How do I do that right now? Or how do I stop doing that? These are valuable questions, and you can ask these questions and look directly into your experience. They all point to the same truth, the same as the question, who am I? Where am I? Where does inside meet outside? Where does real meet unreal? Why does the bearded Bodhidharma have no beard? In one way, these questions bind up the mind. In another way, they point very directly to a very simple truth that's so simple you can't know it. It has to be embodied. It has to be lived right now. And it is. You're not missing anything. You've never missed anything. You can't miss this. You can't lose this. You can't find this. So I could say, feel into what I'm saying, but even that, you don't need to do that. You don't need to feel into anything. It's already there. If there's feeling, it's the feeling. If there's lack of feeling, it's the lack of feeling. If there's clarity, it's the clarity. If there's lack of clarity, it's the lack of clarity. Nothing moves apart from this. Nothing moves apart from reality. Nothing is actually hidden. Nothing is missing. But don't go thinking about that either. If you're walking around and the mind is saying that, that can be a layer of identification, which can clarify. And that identification is also this. And the obscurity is this too. And at the same time, that can be clarified. So this isn't something you think about. These aren't views that you hold. These pointers or questions are an antidote for a mental process that obscures, in some bizarrely almost impossible way, but it does it. It obscures that which cannot be obscured, that which cannot be other than just this. So it's a very strange thing. Awakening isn't the magic trick. Keeping yourself asleep is the magic trick. And it's impossible, and yet somehow it seems to happen. But it's like the shell game. You have to put ongoing effort in to keep that asleepness going. All practices are unpractices. They're unpracticing the practice of keeping yourself asleep. So try unpracticing for a while and see what happens. Try the practice of unpracticing.